After successful installation of the ESMC server, it's necessary to deploy agents to computers in the network. In version 7, the agent component is called Asset Management Agent, or EM Agent for short. The name has changed, but the function remains the same. It covers all communication between ESMC server and client computer. It is highly modular and lightweight. It is able to interact with variety of asset business products and various operating systems. It is autonomous and strong. EM Agent locally, on the client computer, evaluates groups, executes tasks and applies policies. EM Agent uses new, improved communication protocol based on gRPC. It is an open-source remote procedure call. Asset Remote Administrator 6 server and proxy is not able to read this new protocol. EM Agent in the latest version 7.1 supports Asset Endpoint products in version 6.5 and later. ESMC server is capable of communicating with ERA 6 agent, but not vice versa. ERA server is not able to read communication from EM Agent due to the new communication protocol. Therefore, when migrating ERA 6 environment to ESMC 7 environment, always upgrade the server component first. Accordingly, ERA proxy as a version 6 component is not able to forward communication from EM agents. In version 7, HTTP proxy serves for communication forwarding. The process of deployment in the network can be divided in 3 steps. The first step is adding computers to the ESMC structure. This is not mandatory, it is required only for remote agent deployment from ESMC Web Console. The second step is to deploy EM agents to client computers. EM Agent is necessary for communication between ESMC server and client computers. The third step is the installation of endpoint software, just to have the client computers not only managed but also protected. How to add computers to ESMC? The most convenient way to add groups and computers to ESMC structure is static group synchronization. It is a server task that searches your network for computers, for instance Active Directory, and puts them into static groups in ESMC Web Console. By default, task is created and executed at ESMC server startup. To track changes in computer structure, it is useful to create a scheduled trigger and let it run regularly. You can manually add computers that are not found or added automatically by submitting IP address or hostname. You can add them one by one in Web Console or import multiple from CSV file. The third option of adding computers to ESMC is importing groups and computers from the file. This allows you to import complete structure, computers and groups, subgroups. Especially useful when using security groups instead of organization units or when you use other structure. The imported file must have specified format that you can see on this slide. Last option of adding computers into ESMC is utilizing component RD sensor. RD sensor is by default a passive listener of network communication that uses WinPy cap technology. Reports to ESMC server all communicating devices in network. The next step is deployment of EM agent components on client computers. In general, you can deploy the agent locally or remotely. Currently there are several options of local as well as remote agent deployment. You can execute EM agent installation on the local machine using the agent MSI file. Obviously, admin credentials are required to execute the installation. In the installation wizard you have 2 options. During offline installation process you must provide agent certificate and certification authority. So first, you must export the certificate and certification authority from the ESMC web console and then deliver them to the machine, where the agent installation takes place. More convenient is server-assisted installation. This method allows the installation wizard to connect to web console and to automatically download correct certificate from the ESMC server. Another option for local deployment is using an agent live installer. It is a script generated from the ESMC web console which is available for all operating systems: Windows, Linux and Mac. The script contains following configuration data: ESMC server hostname and agent port, agent certificate and certification authority, path to agent MSI file by default to ESET repository, agent policy and HTTP proxy settings, and static group. Here you can see the content of the live installer with highlighted configuration. The third option of local installation of EM Agent is the all-in-one installer. All-in-one installer is a package of EM Agent and ESET security product. It is also possible to add policies for EM Agent and product into the package as well as the license for product activation. It is a .exe file, so it is suitable for MS Windows only. Package is downloaded from the web console. Internet connection is required because latest available MSI installer files are downloaded from the repository. All-in-one installer provides convenient way to make computers managed and protected in one installation process. In ESMC 7 it is also possible to create .exe file containing EM Agent only. The first option of remote deployment of EM Agent is push installation from the ESMC server. It is a server task. For successful deployment, several requirements have to be met in the Windows networked environment. From this point of view, this method needn't be optimal solution for remote agent deployment in company network. For remote deployment of EM agents in large corporate Windows-based environments, we recommend to use System Center Configuration Manager (SCCM) or Group Policy Object (GPO). When using SCCM or GPO, configuration file is necessary for correct installation of EM agent. It can be any file or MST file. These configuration files contain information that is necessary for correct installation of EM agent. Server hostname, agent port on the server, agent certificate and certification authority. Optionally passwords for certificate and certification authority. You can download install config any file directly from the ESMC web console. Second option is to use some MSI editor tool like Orca MSI Editor. Orca is a tool that allows to edit properties of MSI installer files and to add specific configuration to the MSI installer. The third option for remote EM agent deployment is ESET Remote Deployment Tool. It is a standalone application dedicated to deploying all-in-one packages to Windows client computers in networked environment. There are 4 options to identify target computers in the network. The installation package is generated in the ESMC web console. Remote installation is executed under standard admin privileges. When the EM agent is installed and running on the client computer, ESET endpoint security products can be installed remotely using client task, software install. Second option, how to deploy endpoint product remotely, is to deploy all-in-one package using ESET Remote Deployment Tool. In the following part we will demonstrate deployment of EM agents in 3 different ways.